Hello everybody and welcome to Cinema Savvy. It is myself George bringing you a brand new review for a Blu-ray 4K Ultra HD release, and this is of course Black Adam, which is right here at the side of me, which is going to be out in shops from tomorrow here in the UK, being released on 4K Blu-ray and you know the rest. So I'm going to give my thoughts not on the film because we did a review for that last year. I have rewatched the film for this, obviously on the 4K copy. I'll talk about that. I'm going to talk about the visuals, the audio track, the special features, and I might end up segueing into the thoughts on the whole DC shenanigans at the moment, follow off a recommendation for picking up this film, and who might want to pick it up, who would pick it up, etc. So do stick around for that at the end of the video. We do hope you enjoy it, and if you want more of these videos, please do comment your thoughts, hit that subscribe button. We've got a lot more coming that we've got planned for the Ultra HD stuff. Rocky has just been announced to get a 4K remaster. There's going to be 4 steelbooks because Stallone's recutting Rocky 5 and 6 for a reason we don't know, so it's not going to be included, which frustrating, but that's not for today's video. So Kickstarter Black Adam. If you want my thoughts on the film, it's not one I liked at all at the time. I'm not going to change my thoughts on that. I did watch it again. I still have almost the exact same concurrent thoughts, but obviously now we know that this isn't going to be a franchise moving forward, with the big announcement, of course, James Gunn at the helm of DC, so that's its own conversation. So if I'm just going to skip the quality of the film, which, you know, let's talk about the transfers, because the one thing I will say, watching these 4K films quite recently, I've been watching over Christmas a lot of older ones that I've never seen. Beetlejuice, Groundhog Day, just to name a couple. I've got a whole load on the shelf behind me there, and I've been catching up with a lot of the ones I've purchased, and it's really interesting seeing how so many of these films, you know, get this remaster, how different some can look and how great, and some are better than others, all that sort of stuff. So it's nice to come back to a new release, you know, 2022 film out tomorrow. And I will say this about the actual disc quality, the transfer, it does look very good on the system that I have. Obviously, the 4K Blu-ray player uses my PS5. My TV is a Sony 4K one from a couple of years ago. Everything's in the description, and I'll talk about the Dolby Atmos sound a little bit later. But if I'm going to talk about the disc itself, and in terms of going into it, the visual quality looks absolutely fine. In fact, I'll say it looks better than fine. Maybe because I've seen these older films I've mentioned, it just looks better than a lot of other 4K films I've seen. I don't know why. Is it the tech on the cameras? Is it the effort they've put into it? I don't think it's just a settings of a TV. So the actual quality itself is there to be seen, is there to be picked up, and it does look very, very good on that 4K setup. Now, also, maybe I think it looks better because the flying rock meme has obviously become an incredible meme over the last couple of months, and it was the Leo pointing thing, you know, when it popped up in the film. So I had a bit of a chuckle at that. But again, I can't fault the visuals from that. And even that's, I guess, a compliment to the film as well. The CGI looks a lot better at home than it does in the cinema, from what I remember it. I didn't see it on IMAX. It was just a normal screen at my Cineworld for that one. But that was something that caught me off guard, that I just thought visually it looked better. And some of the Dr. Fate sequences look amazing, as you would expect with a character like that, whose abilities are like that. And a massive shout out to Pierce Brosnan, who is still the best thing about this film, because it's Pierce Brosnan, and he's genuinely great and a legend of all-time cinema. Not just getting on the James Bond high horse there. But if I talk about the audio track as well, now obviously it's a modern big blockbuster release. You're expecting Dolby Atmos, which is great. It's a very good sound setup if you have it. The audio track itself quite surprised me in a good way. I watched Man of Steel on 4K recently, and that had Dolby Atmos. Now, I know that Atmos wasn't around in 2013 when they did that, but I was really disappointed from some of those sequences. Now, maybe it's because the tech wasn't around for them to engineer at the time, I do not know. But Man of Steel had a really disappointing a soundtrack for me, not obviously Hans Zimmer, the soundtrack for the film, the audio track. And I was a bit nervous about Black Adam because obviously, you know, you think of DC under the same banner, but the audio quality in this was great. I thought those city sequences where they're flying around on the jets, obviously the explosions, all that sort of stuff. It's one of the first times in one of these modern releases I've really felt that Atmos track kick in. Obviously, you've got some things which are just, you know, incomparable, like Top Gun Maverick, but Black Adam really surprised me at the audio track that they put on the film. Of course, you know, when the characters are talking, so if the dialogue is fine, it is clear, but they have the balance right of what's zipping around, what's going up in 3D, so credit to the audio team on that respect. And kind of in lieu of that, we've also got the special features. Now, I'm going to list these off on the disc. I try and memorise these, but there's a few on this, but I've just got to point out something here. Now, if you want to talk about The Rock's control, we have on the tag over 1 hour of electrifying bonus content. So, you know, it sounds like The Rock's just pitching his WWE return. Maybe that will happen. Who knows with the Vince McMahon news? But I watched the special features last night. I'm going to be quite fair. I wasn't bowled away by them. I think, as I've sort of said in previous videos, it's really disappointing how many modern releases don't have great special features anymore. A lot of them are features that you can pick up on YouTube and elsewhere, and I understand that the market's not what it was, but a lot of people do enjoy this, and maybe if you're a big DC fan or a Black Adam fan, you'll massively disagree with me, and I would like to hear that. So for anyone curious, I'm going to go through each of these one by one. We've got the history of Black Adam, who is the Justice Society, from soul to screen, Black Adam, a new type of action, costumes make the hero, and a couple more. And as I said, they sort of whizzed by. The very small featurettes that I feel like I've seen before. I feel like I've heard so much from The Rock's PR for this for so long. I think that dampens getting excited about any of these other features. And I know that's not really the disc's fault. Obviously, those features are on the Blu-ray disc. So if you don't have a 4K setup and you want to pick this up on Blu-ray for those features, that is going to work in your favour. But at the end, I will end up recommending the 4K copy for those who will actually pick this up. And kind of in line with that, I'm going to talk about DC quickly, because this is a shorter 4K Ultra HD review than most. I've not as much to say, given that, you know, I've seen this film before. I've rewatched it again for this. It's really interesting now that this film is out on 4K that we know that James Gunn is in control, because it kind of feels null and void, the whole thing. Obviously, The Rock isn't returning, which we knew. I'm not going to get into the legalities, but you can look at some of the numbers that were released, some of the articles, reports of false numbers being reported by certain individuals involved, i.e. a producer and lead actor. And you can look into all of that. So Black Adam's become a bit of a, not a meme online, but Black Adam as an IP, as a character, seems somewhat dead. And that's in tandem with the big credit scene for this, the Superman Black Adam face-off. When we did that review in October, I think I was talking about, you know, he's not Bond anymore, Cavill's gone, he's back as Superman. Obviously that isn't the case as well. And this is where I'm going to sort of move my recommendations and moving forward. So because I don't like this film, I'm fundamentally not recommending buying the film for the film itself. I hope that is fair to say. I'm not going to tell you all to drop £25 film on something I hate. But there's a lot of films I own. Now I've got, I think, around 600-ish Blu-ray / 4Ks. Don't count DVDs. They've been away for a long time now. Most of them have probably been double dipped as the years have gone by. But there's a lot of series I have where I buy and keep them for the collectionist's sake. I think I'm really pushing examples Transformers 4 and 5, because I really like the first and third one, and the OCD me won't allow not to have the others. I need to have the set, and I've done that to a lot of film franchises in the past. I've picked up these films as the years have gone by just to pad out the collection, just so I have the set. And I quite like doing it, and that's what I do. I think a lot of other physical media collectors also do stuff like this. I've also got actors or directors where I pick up every film. You can see right there, all the Spielberg films are on that top shelf together. All the Nolan films you can't see are in one of the other corner units, synced up with everything. So there's certain actors, directors that I will do that for. And it doesn't matter how bad a film is, I will pick it up. For example, I own House of Gucci for the Adam Driver collection. Obviously that Blu-ray, not 4K for that. So, you know, I can't be too hypocritical in saying don't get it at all. Where my recommendation is going to come in for this film is with the to you, the DC fans, if you're watching, to the Rock fans maybe. If you're interested in picking up these things for these actors or directors, maybe you're a Brosnan hardcore fan as well. What I would say about Black Adam is, if you have a 4K setup, if you have a very good setup, I do recommend the 4K copy, because as I said, visually it looked great. Audio-wise, it was amazing with the Atmos track. But obviously, I'm not going to recommend the actual, you know, what makes the film. So if it comes down to you, do you want to know if a film's good or not? Then the answer is obviously no, not from me. I'm sorry. I know some people liked it. And obviously, we know the box office as well. It hasn't made it a big hit. There's no sequel. It's not part of James Gunn's plans moving forward. So Black Adam's in this sort of void with DC. And I feel like we're going to get this year. We've got Blue Beetle coming out. There's a couple of other films. Obviously, Flash is going to be the big reset, starring Ezra Miller. Bloody hell. And yeah, so DC is an interesting thing moving forward. Now, obviously, we've got The Batman, one of the best films of last year, which looked amazing on 4K. One of the best Atmos tracks, especially with that the car scene. But it's tricky with Black Adam, because you can't take time to bond an attachment if he's not coming back. I don't think we're ever going to have The Rock back. We've got Shazam coming out this year. There's even reports of him refusing to cameo in Shazam. Stuff like that I think's really not just given the film a bad PR. I think it's given some of the people involved an atrocious public image moving forward. And, you know, if they want to do 4 Jungle films in a row, that's absolutely fine. But I think it reaches a point where an audience tires, and that did happen with Black Adam. The audience didn't just tire of The Rock. The audience tired of DC in their current state. Major changes are needed. And I fundamentally believe that James Gunn is the guy to do it properly. He's made the heavy decisions to begin with. They're the heavy decisions that needed to be made to move forward as a property. Because I can assure you one thing, that it is not going to work out if you still have these same people involved saying it's been rebooted X, Y, and Z. Here's half the Justice League, here's not half the Justice League. It's a real mess he's in. And it's going to take him a couple of years to pick it up. So that makes it even tricky to recommend something like Black Adam, because we know there's no future. And it's been built up as a film to set up a Superman versus Black Adam fight, which I'll put a tenner on it being made into a comic in 5 years. That's the sort of outcome that some of these failed projects have. And there's nothing wrong with that, because there's a lot of comic readers as well, and they're maybe more inclined to want to see something like that compared to the public, the cinema-going audience who put their money into these films, which resonates in a box office and sales. So it's a very weird tangent to end this Black Adam 4K review, but it's a really intriguing thing to come up with. And I think, you know, January we've been told that there's going to be some big DC announcements. We'll probably have a video out when that's been made aware, when that's public, when we can go off something, because it's a really curious time. It's a very important time. And I think I'm intrigued and excited to see what James Gunn wants to do. So it's a weird way to end this Black Adam 4K UHD review. But as I said, I'm recommending it to you if you're going into complete filmographies, complete sets. If you genuinely like the film, of course, I recommend the 4K copy over the Blu-ray. It did look and sound better. And you've just got that more modern tech that's going to really work with it. So that's going to do it for today's review. Thank you all for watching. We've got a couple of other things coming up. We had a Megan review come out on Friday, which was insane. The film, yeah, that was a weird one. Just check that out. If you haven't seen it in the cinema, please do. And then we've got The Last of Us starting tomorrow night. We've got a major spoiler discussion, the first one of the series. In the night tonight will drop as soon as the episode finishes airing, a very quick YouTube short, which I recorded in between watching the series last week. So at least there'll be episode-to-episode gaps where I can talk about what I think could happen, would happen, etc. There's a lot of things happening for The Last of Us. We've also got the James Cameron retrospective. Our review for Aliens is going to be coming on Wednesday, and we'll be talking, as usual, about how so few James Cameron films are available on things like 4K. And if they are, we'll be covering them on these separate reviews, because I can't wait for The Abyss and True Lies when they do finally come out. So that's going to do it all for today. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.